The movie kicks off way up in the far north back in the year 1857. A ship on an expedition to the North Pole led by Captain Anderson gets trapped in the thick Arctic ice. One of the men calls out to the captain asking what they should do. He replies that they got to keep going. The man says the crew is exhausted. The captain steps up to the men and tells them they have to keep working because they accepted a mission and they've got to reach the North Pole. The crew answers that they will. Later that night, someone alerts the captain that there's been an explosion. He orders a few men to be gathered. With nothing but the fire to light their way, they head toward the site and find the snow stained with a whole lot of blood. Some of the men call out. They found someone alive, badly hurt. When they get closer, they realize the man's got a prosthetic limb. It's none other than Victor Frankenstein. They haul him aboard. Right then, they hear growls echoing through the cold air and rush back to the ship to defend themselves. They open fire as a strange being, a creature with superhuman strength at Victor. The unknown creature keeps advancing, killing some of the crew and shouting for Victor to be handed over. It demands that Victor be delivered to it. The men try to defend themselves, but the creature reaches the captain and the rescued man, screaming, "Victa!" In that instant, one of the crew fires a more powerful weapon and knocks it down. Everyone thinks it's dead, but the being rises to its feet and starts pushing the ship, tilting it dangerously. Another crew member fires again, but only hits the ice. The ice begins to crack, causing the creature to fall into the freezing waters. Moments later, the ship's doctor gives Victor a herbal remedy. Victor asks where he is and how many men the creature has killed. The captain answers 6. Victor warns that it will come back and kill more. The captain says it fell into the water, so it's probably dead, but Victor insists the creature cannot die and that he's already tried to destroy it. He pleads that if it returns, they must let him take it. In front of the crew, Victor confesses a brutal truth. The captain asks, "Who could have created such a monster?" Victor replies, "I am the one." Now dressed in new clothes, though still injured, Victor tells the captain that he will share his story, and he begins. His name is Victor Frankenstein, a name given to him by his father, meaning conqueror. His father was a baron and a renowned surgeon, an aristocratic doctor respected by many who married Victor's mother out of convenience. She had a significant dowry and could provide status. Victor recounts that his father was absent for most of his life, but whenever he returned home, everyone had to obey him. During a meal, Victor's father hands a piece of raw meat to his mother while Victor watches. At night, as he prays, Victor overhears arguments between his parents until his mother enters his room and embraces him. He continues explaining that his father despised both him and his mother. We see him alongside his father during a lesson about the heart and the human body. His father asks him a question, and when Victor cannot answer, he decides to punish him. Victor reaches out his hand, but his father tells him that they can no longer shake hands. Weeks later, his father departs. While Victor and his mother play, she begins to away. Then all they hear is his mother's heart-wrenching scream. In another scene, we see his mother dead. Victor, devastated, walks away from her grave and cries alone. We see Victor's father with his brother, William or Guillermo, who grew up surrounded by nature. The thought that his father had let his mother die is consuming him. So one day, determined to confront his father, he asked him directly. His father denied it, saying that no one again. Victor continues recounting that his success was brief and his fall swift. Riots and fires destroyed his family's plantations, causing him to lose his fortune, and with it, his father. His younger brother had to go live with close relatives while Victor in College of Medicine, the Royal College of Surgeons of Edinburgh. A young Victor presents an introduction to his thesis. He declares that birth and reincarnation lie in God's hands, but death that is the true challenge. He asserts that while humans are not gods, if they could act like them, they could corner death and defy it, bringing life back to the dead. At that moment, a man enters the courtroom, watching intently. Victor hands his thesis to the jury and then unveils his experiment, the body of a dead man, brain intact, attached to a carpenter's arm. Right then, before everyone's eyes, he connects the necessary energy. The lifeless body springs to life, leaving everyone present, including the jury, staring in disbelief. Bold demonstration costs him his place at the college, but it does nothing to curb his ambition. As he walks away, the man who had been observing him approaches. It is Henrik Carlander, an arms dealer. He asks for a moment of Victor's time and mentions that his brother William has sent a message. Victor agrees and they enter a nearby residence. Victor asks if William will be coming to see him. The man confirms he will, and him Prometheus. Victor considers leaving, but Harlander convinces him to stay. A few days later, Victor visits Harlander, who shows him an astonishing piece of work crafted from wood, along with a delicate model of the lymphatic system made from flesh. Victor watches in awe as Harlander remarks that the most important thing is knowing how to reach the heart. Victor shares an idea he's been developing to reach life eternal by going through the back through the spinal cord. Harlander, thrilled, offers unlimited funding for the project in an abandoned tower where Victor can set up his experiments. Victor asks what Harlander wants in return, and the man simply says, perhaps a favor. Victor replies that he will think about it. At that moment, his brother William is announced. Victor steps out to greet him with an embrace. William then introduces his fiancée, Lady Elizabeth, Harlander's niece. Victor greets her politely. Later at the table, William brings up what happened during Victor's thesis presentation. Victor defends himself and begins to explain how science can bring life back. Lady Elizabeth laughs at his explanation. Victor notices and asks why she's laughing. With William and Harlander leaving the room, Victor and Elizabeth are left alone to discuss the matter. She remarks that ideas are worthless on their own. And using war as an example, she says that while concepts like homeland and honor may seem noble, countless people die for them. Ideas are only pursued by fools. Victor asks her if she thinks he's a fool. Back on the ship, Victor starts coughing. The captain is interrupted by the screams coming from the vessel. Stepping outside to see what's happening, one of the crew tells him that everyone is terrified and wants to remove the man from the ship, but the captain insists that the man is under his care. Victor continues his story, explaining that a few weeks later, he went with William and Harlander to see an abandoned tower. The moment he laid eyes on it, he felt the call of destiny. Harlander tells him that anything he asked for will be provided. Thrilled, Victor begins requesting a cage, high-voltage columns, and various other equipment necessary to start his work. He enlists his brother William's help to set up the laboratory. Harlander approaches him, and the two seal the deal, selecting his next test subjects from among the condemned. From a distance, he spots Elizabeth. Intrigued, he follows her to a church where he decides to enter the confessional and pose as a priest. Elizabeth confesses that she has felt hatred toward her fiancé's brother. Victor, puzzled, asks her to explain. That's when Victor draws back the confessional curtain and greets her. Later, we see them both at a restaurant. Victor asks what book she bought and she tells him to guess. He assumes they must be romance novels until she opens them, revealing they are books about insects. Elizabeth in science. They then share a dance. In another scene, we see Victor supervising the construction of his laboratory alongside William. He gives precise instructions before leaving. Days later, he is shown spending time with Elizabeth capturing a butterfly together. On another day, he is back in his lab attempting to bring a body to life using his idea of inserting needles through the spinal cord. It fails. He cannot succeed. In a different scene, Victor enjoys the melody Elizabeth plays on the piano during a ceremony. When it ends, he returns to his laboratory with Harlander, who tells him he is eager for results and warns him not to get distracted by Elizabeth. He gives him a week to present the results. We see Elizabeth arriving with the butterfly they had caught together. She enters the laboratory and observes the progress Victor has made in his work. Victor watches her and tells her that he has to confess something. He asks if she has felt the connection between them. She cups his face, but then as her gaze falls on the butterfly, she says that choice is the strength of the soul and a gift from God, and that she has already made her decision. She bids him farewell and leaves. Victor takes a bath to clear his mind. A clear idea strikes him. The symmetry of God, the symmetry of the body. Still naked, he heads to the laboratory and perfectly positions the needles into the spinal cord. In that instant, the test subject, the lifeless corpse, springs to life. Victor, stunned, disconnects the needles and takes a deep breath. Days later, we see him on the battlefield of the Crimean War, selecting corpses, hanged criminals, and dead soldiers that could serve as parts to create the being that will give life. He requests a tall body with long limbs. Using these pieces, he assembles a corpse. As soon as he has it, he begins working exhaustively, making precise cuts and assembling each part with exacting accuracy. After days of labor, he succeeds in creating the perfect being. He plans to reanimate it using electric currents and harnessing the lymphatic system to generate the energy needed to restart the heart and brain. Once everything is ready, he positions the approaches. He knows the moment has come. Victor rushes to alert Harlander, but as he approaches, he notices something strange about the man's demeanor. Harlander died to live on in the being Victor was creating. Upon hearing this, Victor refuses. He believes Harlander's brain is already infected with the disease. Victor goes to set up the lightning rods, but Harlander follows and insists. Harlander grabs part of one of the machines and threatens to throw it into the void, trying to force the process. Victor urges him to calm down and lunges at him. In the struggle, Harlander ends up hanging precariously. And despite Victor's attempt to save him, there's anything he can do with his body, but he notices that Harlander's brain is completely destroyed. Determined to continue, Victor sets everything in motion, ready. Realizing this, he approaches the being he created and notices that it hasn't worked. There is no pulse at all. Disappointed by the failure, he decides to rest. He lies down. A call of his name wakes him. The next morning, as soon as he opens his eyes, he sees his creation standing before him. The creature he had believed lifeless the night before is now upright right in front of him. Victor, slightly fearful, approaches the creature slowly, showing it the light for the first time. The being merely imitates his actions. Victor then introduces himself. In another scene, we see Elizabeth with William, who is going through letters until one catches his attention. Back with Victor, we see him leading the creature to the deepest part of the tower into its very core, where he chains it before leaving. He sits down on the stairs contemplating what he has unleashed. Then we see him with the captain. Victor says he's not sure if it even makes sense to share his story. And the captain responds that he doesn't know if it makes sense either, but he still wants to hear it. Victor tends to the creature's wounds. The creature displays immense strength and a remarkable ability to heal rapidly. Exhausted from working without sleep, Victor tries to get it to say something beyond just Victor. When he fails, he becomes so agitated that the creature reacts. At that moment, his brother arrives with Elizabeth. As he lets them in, Victor grabs Elizabeth's arm and pulls her, telling her he will show her everything he has accomplished. She pulls away and asks where her uncle, Mr. Harlander, is. Victor evades the question and takes William to show him what he has achieved. William hands him a letter from the medical tribunal. Meanwhile, Elizabeth hears the creature and approaches it. She examines its wounds and immediately confronts Victor, questioning how he is treating it. It is then that Victor leads her and William to see the creature up close. He explains to them that he was the one who created it, and that it is chained for safety. While William asks questions about the intelligence of the being Victor created, Victor watches Elizabeth closely. That night, Elizabeth returns to visit the creature. She tells it her name and tries to get it to repeat after her, eventually teaching it to say her name. She decides to return to her room, unaware that the creature quietly utters her name as she leaves. On her way back, Victor intercepts her, warning her never to approach the creature again. He scolds her for her rejection and for the strange behavior she shows toward the being. Angry, she tells him not to be cruel to what he himself has created and leaves. Furious from the conversation, Victor runs to the creature and demands that it say more than just its name. When it fails to respond as he wishes, he strikes it free. The next morning, he shows William Harlander's body, lying to him and making him believe that the creature killed Harlander. He then asks William to take Elizabeth away. William obeys and leaves with her. Once alone, Victor pours gasoline throughout the tower. Even in the place where the creature was chained, Victor pours gasoline. He tells it that if it speaks any word beyond its name, he will spare it. Then the creature says the name Elizabeth. Victor steps back, igniting the fire. Flames quickly engulf everything, and the creature screams Elizabeth's name in desperation. Victor changes his mind and tries to return, but at that moment, an explosion throws him violently. The structure collapses onto a rock, amputating one of his legs. At that instant, William and Elizabeth return only to witness the tower burning. We then return to Victor with the captain. They hear a noise and the captain decides to go see what's happening. As he opens the door, he comes face to face with the creature. It grabs him by the neck, but Victor shouts for it to release him, telling it he is there and vents starting from the fire, desperately calling for Victor. When no help comes, it frees itself from its chains and escapes into the chaos, plunging into the water. When it wakes, it finds itself far from the tower. It begins to walk aimlessly. As it ventures deeper into the forest, it comes across a corpse, strips the clothing from it, and puts it on. Shortly after, it sees some deer, but one falls dead from a gunshot. Turning around, it sees two hunters who also fire at it. Wounded, it flees until reaching a farm, where it hides in the barn of a nearby farmhouse. From there, it observes domestic life. It overhears an old man, blind yet teaching his granddaughter to read. The creature begins to watch the old man and his granddaughter learning from them. At night, it starts performing secret tasks to help the family. They call the spirit of nature or the spirit of the forest. One day, a pack of wolves attacks the farm. Days later, the old man is left alone. As the rest of the family departs for the winter, the creature contemplates many times how it might finally introduce itself to him. However, when it finally revealed itself, the old man was kind, offering bread, shelter, acceptance, and companionship. Thus, a genuine friendship was born between them. Over time, the old man taught the creature to read and speak fluently. Its first book told the story of Adam and Eve, the fall of the tower, and the wrath of God. Through the old man, the creature discovered a more human side of itself. One day, while they were talking, the old man asked if it remembered anything from its past. The creature replied that it only had fragments: sand, fire, heat, and cold, and one word that echoed in its mind: Victor. The old man advised it to search for that memory, and so it did. It returned to the ruins of the tower, where it found a letter and notes revealing its true nature. For the first time, it read the full name of its creator, Victor Frankenstein. Determined, it returned to the farm to bid farewell to its friend. But upon arriving, it discovered that wolves had broken in and attacked the old man. After confronting them, it fought with fierce rage. It found the old man dying, and he confessed that he had discovered the truth. With his final breath, the old man said that to the creature, the old man had still been a true friend. At that moment, the old man's family arrived. Seeing it beside the body, they shot it in the eye. Wounded, the creature fled, but they caught up to it and fired repeatedly, leaving it for dead. After a long silent pause, the creature came back to life. It now had a single purpose in mind, to ask a favor of its creator and to locate Victor's estate. That very night, Victor wakes. His brother approaches him, urging him to recover as William and Elizabeth's wedding is approaching. He also mentions that he spoke with the townspeople and that the explosion at the tower was considered an accident. With the wedding underway, Victor visits Elizabeth's room to wish her happiness alongside his brother, but she, angry, demands that he stop lying, slaps him, and tells him to leave. Victor returns to his room where the creature waits for him. On the night of the wedding, the creature bursts in. Victor asks if it is there to thank him for bringing it to life. The creature replies. Victor flatly refuses, insisting that he will not create any more abominations. He expresses his disgust and regret for having given it life. Enraged, the creature hurls him against the wall. The noise alerts Elizabeth, who rushes in, and seeing the creature, approaches and embraces it. Victor grabs a weapon and fires, but Elizabeth stabs his head. Victor rushes to his dying brother, promising to save him, but William confesses that he had always feared him, afraid of his ambition and his desire to control life and death. Before dying, he calls Victor a monster. Victor pursues the creature to the far north. The creature recounts that it chased him until nothing remained of his world, just him and his creator. Later, Victor takes refuge in a tent. When the creature approaches, Victor fires at it, but it grabs him and drags him outside. Victor tries to strike back, but the creature disarms him. It grabs a stick of dynamite and says, "Light it and pray for my death or I'll come." And on the ice, the creature stands before Victor and says, "Here we are." Exhausted and finished, it steps closer and takes his hand. Victor, with his last breath, calls it son and asks forgiveness for his cruelty. The creature chooses to forgive him, telling him that as long as it lives, it can do only one thing: live. Then it asks him to say its name. The creature pushes the ship, freeing it from the ice that had trapped it. Captain Anderson halts the pursuit, announcing to the crew that they are heading home. Finally, the creature gazes at the sunrise and the rising sun, and as Victor had taught it, extends its hand toward the sunlight.